Problem number 4 from the guided practice problems for trigonometry on the spring break packet. Let's start by reading the problem. Bianca uses an angle measuring device on a 3-foot tripod to find the height h of a weathering balloon above ground level as shown in this diagram. The balloon is at a 40-degree angle of elevation. A radio signal from the balloon tells Bianca that the distance between the tripod and the balloon is 25,000 feet. What is the height of the balloon above the ground? Round to the nearest foot. So again, we're going to begin by highlighting the important information in the problem. First of all, Bianca uses an angle, I see a number here, 3-foot tripod. So that indicates that this tripod is 3 feet tall. Okay? To find the height h represents the height. That's important to note. Of a weathering balloon above the ground. On the diagram, I need to make sure I understand where everything is and what everything is. This is the weathering balloon up here. Next, the balloon is at a 40-degree angle of elevation. Here we have our 40-degree angle of elevation. A radio signal tells, I'm going through it the same way I would go through it if I was doing the test myself. Okay, this is information. A radio signal from the balloon tells Bianca that the distance between the tripod and the balloon is 25,000 feet. Where's the tripod? Right here. Where's the balloon? Right here. So that means that the distance between them is 25,000 feet. What is the height? Very important because this is telling us what we need to find of the balloon above the ground rounded to the nearest foot. So the height, we're trying to find the height of the balloon above the ground. This is the ground, so all of this. And it has to be rounded to the nearest foot. That's a whole number. That means there won't be any decimals, but we will use the decimal right after, the number right after the decimal point to round the whole number in the ones place. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Grab a marker. I feel like writing in purple today. Okay, so what are we trying to find? We are trying to find the height of the weather balloon above the ground. So this is real world context. We're not just saying, hey, find EG, find FA, or find angle B. We're saying we want to find out how high this balloon is off of the ground. And that represents a side or an angle. It represents a side. So let's keep going. So redraw the triangle. Obviously, you would have to redraw the triangle in order to label it on a computer-based test, and label with all the information from the problem. Read. So let's see, do we have everything? 3-foot tripod? Check. Height labeled of the balloon off of the ground? Check. Balloon is at a 40-degree angle of elevation? Check. Distance between the tripod and the balloon is 25,000 feet. I don't see a 25,000 on here. It's important that you note what the 25,000 feet represents or measures, because you have 3 sides you can put it on, and you could put it on the wrong side. So it's not the height. That's what we're trying to find, and we'll get to that in a minute. It's not the distance between the tripod and where the balloon is coming from, or the string that the balloon is coming from on the ground. It's the distance between the weather balloon and the tripod. So let me put that in here. Okay, now that's a check. And what is the height of the balloon above the ground round to the nearest foot? So I'm trying to find this distance right here. Okay, but one thing I noticed about this distance right here is that it represents the side of a right triangle and then some. So note here that when we deal with this triangle, we can't deal with the entire height. We wouldn't be dealing with the entire height because the height is the side of the right triangle and then some. And that then some happens to be what? 3 feet. Correct. Okay. So in order to find the height, I'm going to have to find this side of the triangle and then add on the then some, which is the 3 feet. And that would be the entire h, or height, which we're trying to find. Okay. So moving forward to, we did step 1. We did step 2. Circle the focus angle. Oh, but let me go back to why would we need to circle the focus angle. This is a right triangle, and we have an angle and a side. we're trying to find another side, so that is the indication that we are going to use trigonometry. So I'm going to circle the focus angle and label opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. Step 3 is done. Step 4, box what you have, circle with what you need. Okay, so I'm going to circle what I need, which is this side of the right triangle, which I'm going to go ahead and highlight. So I'm going to highlight, this is what I need right now. So I'm going to go ahead and circle what I need, and I'm going to box what I have. The only side that I actually have on this right triangle is the hypotenuse. And let me not cover up that H because it's still important. Okay, so we have done that. Let's move on to number 5. Choose the trigonometric function based upon step 4. What I have and what I need, what's boxed and what's circled. Okay, so for the two sides, I have O and H. The only trigonometric function that deals with O and H at the same time is sine. So step 5 is done. We selected sine. Now let's fill in the trigonometric function. So the sine of the focus angle 40 degrees is equal to the opposite, which I don't know, I'm going to call it x, over h, which is 25,000. I like these large numbers. Okay, step 7 says turn into a proportion and solve, which is going to be done by putting that trigonometric function over 1. Okay, or the sine 40 over 1. Okay, so we're now going to cross multiply the sine of 40 degrees will be multiplied by 25,000. Okay, and that's going to be equal to 1 times x, which is x. Here, we're just going to go ahead and find out what the sine of 40 is, and then we're going to multiply that by 25,000. So grabbing the handy dandy calculator again. Let me go ahead and clear this. So 40 degrees, I'm going to find the sine of it, and then I'm going to multiply it by 25,000, and that's going to give me this beautiful decimal of 1. Okay, so 16,069, so 16,069 point, I'll say 690. 690. So we should always, always, always go back to our problem to make sure that we're writing, because we've done all this beautiful work, we want to make sure we're writing the answer in its proper form. So we're going to go ahead and round to the nearest foot here. So I'm going to save this spot, but I'm going to look at this number to tell me what to do. Let me go ahead and give myself some space. Because this is above 4 or greater than 4, 9 is going to get rounded up, but 9 actually rounds to a 2-digit number, it rounds up to 10. So that means that 69 is going to be rolled forward, because this is going to end up being the 0 from the 10, and the 1 is going to be added to the 6 here, so it's going to end up being a 7. So 0, 6, 1. Okay, so equal to x. And what are the units? Feet. Okay. Now, am I done? Am I done with this problem? I have definitely found x. X is equal to 16,070. But remember, x only represents this portion of the right triangle that I was dealing with. It does not include the 3 feet that is also included in the height. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 3 feet right now. And therefore, 16,073. Okay, is going to be feet, the actual measure of h. Okay, and highlighting the answer again, and wishing you lots of luck on your spring break packet. But you don't need luck. You guys are prepared. Have a great one.